Welcome to CryptoTV. I'm your host, Ornella Hernandez, here to talk about all things Web3 and crypto. Today, we're going to talk about the latest crypto craze and the latest Solana outage. And we have an interview on AI, so stay tuned. You've probably already heard of Farcaster or Warpcast. Everyone's talking about it. So if you haven't yet, well, I'm going to tell you about it. But let's go into exactly what it is and look at the bigger picture here. Cookies. Yes, cookies are going viral, friends. Specifically, Girl Scout cookies. And all thanks to a not so new but now trending platform called Farcaster. So what is it? Well, is it a new weather app, a new fitness tracker app? Nope. It's a protocol for decentralized social apps. And on top of Farcaster are few popular apps, namely Warpcast, which is now the top app right now. And it's basically an X or Twitter clone. There's also Farcord, a Discord clone, and Flink, a Reddit clone. They all use the same data, but have different front ends and experiences. And what makes it so cool is that users own their data and can take it across different apps. Imagine if your Twitter posts and followers carried over to Facebook and vice versa. Now, the news here is that Farcaster has seen a major spike week over week in daily active users. And there are two main reasons why. This is where the cookies I mentioned before come in. Warpcast has a feature called Frames, which recently went live, and it lets users turn posts with images, links, buttons into interactive posts. For example, someone created a full e-commerce experience for ordering Girl Scout cookies using a Farcaster frame. And it lets you shop for your favorite Girl Scout cookies, place the order, and pay for the order directly in the frame, without ever having to leave to an external site or another app. The co-founder of Farcaster and ex-Coinbase engineer Dan Romero posted this demo on X. And in the comments, Romero revealed that Coinbase Commerce is the checkout on the back end. And one user asked, "How long until X copies frames?" To which Romero answered, "We're just going to keep moving fast." The appeal about frames is that if we compare to X, which actually decreases the visibility of tweets when we include links to external sites, now Warpcast users can embed the media into their posts, which are actually called casts, without getting penalized for it. For example, let's say that you want people to buy tickets to an event that you're organizing. Well, you might have an Eventbrite or a website for it that you're selling tickets on, right? But you want to promote it on socials, naturally. Well, those posts with the links to the Eventbrite are deprioritized on X because it takes users off of the platform. However, with Warpcast and Frames, the idea is that you can post about your event and have users buy tickets within Frames. And on top of all this, some users are making money from tokens on Farcaster. Now, Farcaster doesn't have a native token, but some of the apps and projects built on it do. And they've been airdropping free tokens to early users. And friends, you know how it goes. Free money equals motivation to try new stuff equals more new users. So having said all of this, it begs the question, is Farcaster the next big thing in crypto? I'll read out some tweets about it. Benji says that he's bullish because adoption scales best when minimizing the number of clicks to do anything on-chain, while maximizing the community experience. He even thinks that Farcaster could replace X, wallets, and Telegram. But wait, isn't that what Elon Musk wanted X to be, an everything app, just not on-chain? Another user named Zeneca said that he got 4 times the engagement on Farcaster than he did on X, despite having less followers, for the reason of the links that I explained before. He closed with, "Decentralized social is the future." One more user, Tandavus, simply lays out the difference between X and Warpcast. He said that if Warpcast goes down, you can still use other apps on Farcaster, giving Supercast as an example. But if X goes down, then the site and the app go down too, and you lose your tweets. On Farcaster apps, account recovery can actually be controlled by an Ethereum address, by the way. And that is the difference between centralized and decentralized applications, and the case for this recent rise in decentralized ones. But now I'm fearing that there are too many. Not just crypto apps, but social media apps, which are already very difficult to make successful. And in addition to Farcaster and Warpcast, this new crop of crypto social networking platforms includes one called LivePeer, which is for decentralized video streaming and has a bunch of video apps on it. There are others too, and we've seen what's happened to other decentralized social media apps such as Lens Protocol, which had a lot of hype last year, but then the hype died down. And we can't forget FriendTech, which had a lot of hype just 6 months ago, but that hype died down too. I'm not saying activity completely died, but just that the hype or the traction did. And now the hype train stopped at the Farcaster station. So all I can say is you will probably want to try it out. And I'd like to point out that it's not even that new. Warpcast actually launched at the beginning of 2023 last year, but the recent bump in users is all thanks to Frames. And Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin was one of its first users. Look at this early tweet from him from a year ago, where he says that he's trying out different social networking platforms while giving a nod to Lord Elon. He says that there will be multiple winners in the race for the best social media platform. And even more recently, this week, Vitalik reiterated his love for Farcaster in response to another user's tweet about FriendTech activity. He said that when it comes to crypto social, he predicts that Farcaster and Lens will not be deserted in 4 months or 1 year. Only time will tell. What do you guys think about crypto social and SocialFi? Is this the new frontier? Will you open a Warpcast account? Let me know in the comments below. Especially if you are already a user, let me know what you think. Now, in other news, switching gears here to Solana, the network suffered yet another outage this week. It's first of 2024, and it's first in actually almost a year. The last one happened on February 25th, 2023. It almost made it to a year. As I'm saying this, developers are still investigating the root cause of the issue, but they say that the network is experiencing a performance degradation. That does not sound good. And due to this news, the price of Sol dropped quite a bit. So, what now? Well, Solana basically needs to hit the restart button, but blockchains don't really work like that. There is no restart button. So instead, Solana developers released a validator software patch. And once 80% of validator operators have made up the upgrade, the network restarted. Now, talk about a rough patch for Solana, especially since the second generation of Solana phones recently went live for pre-orders. Now, called the Solana Mobile Chapter 2, this is the successor to Solana Mobile Saga, it reached 60,000 pre-orders in under 3 weeks, according to the block. The new version offers a cheaper entry for users to have a physical phone with crypto supporting software built in. And individuals can purchase the Solana Chapter 2 wallet for $450, with the phones scheduled to start shipping in 2025. Initially unveiled in June 2022, Solana Mobile Saga first cost $1,000 to purchase, before its price tag was lowered to $599. Saga sold out in the US on December 15, 2023. Do any of you guys use a Solana phone? Let me know. Or if you're thinking of getting one, then let me know why. I have yet to be convinced about ditching my iPhone for a crypto phone, and to be honest, I'm not so sure how much more secure it truly is. And there are other crypto phones out there competing for market share with Solana. But guys, I wonder what happens to Solana phones when there is a network outage. Does it even affect it? I don't know. But in the meantime, we are going to talk about a different topic, artificial intelligence, with a special guest joining us via Zoom, so please stay tuned. Our guest today on CryptoTV to talk about all things AI, artificial intelligence, is Humayun Shiekh, who is the founder and CEO of Fetch.ai. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Yes.
I'm really glad to be here.
You're calling all the way from Cambridge, UK, correct?
That is it, indeed, from
How is it over there?
cloudy Cambridge, UK.
How is it over there?
It's winter, so there's not too much to say about it.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. So just now before you came on, I spoke about the hype of Farcaster and Warpcast and how that has everyone in a frenzy as of late. So I wanted to just get your take on SocialFi and decentralized social media apps and where you think that's heading this year. Is that going to be the next trend?
I think it has been trying to be the trend for a while. I mean, we saw, Blue Sky come through as well. So, and I think it will become more and more popular. Is it going to be this year's hype? Who knows, right? It could be anything, but certainly I think there's a demand for it, and as we see more and more governmental organizations interfering, and we see elections, and we see AI's increase, it's going to become essential for it to exist, parallel to centralized app. So overall, I think I'm quite positive about it, and I do feel that that's the way we are going.
Yeah, that's a good point that you make, especially given that at least in the US it's an election year and censorship is a no-go, so this is why it will give a rise to new apps like this for sure. And you mentioned that it may not be the main source of hype for this year, but AI probably will remain as a main source of hype given that it was last year. So let's talk about all things AI, starting with Fetch.ai and where you guys are at right now. The beginning of 2024, what you guys expect for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I agree. AI hype, or AI traction, as I would call it, because perhaps it's not just hype, is going to continue, and AI has kind of impact on almost every industry, as we know, and we have seen it. And so there's going to be multiple different strands where AI will become more and more popular. At this point in time, we're coming out of research. We're taking LLMs to a new kind of way of implementing software. So that's one strand. The other strand is the whole hardware space, the AI compute space, because it's a land grab at the moment. So you have this chip space, and possibly for the Web3 and the decentralized space, it'll become quite interesting on how we can. The real world asset for AI compute is going to be quite important, and that's kind of combining in with the real world asset kind of slight hype that is coming at the moment. I think that will coincide with that, because for AI to really take off, you need the compute. So that's the real world asset, and then I think that there is other obviously applications which are coming, and now we can build these applications. Previously, we couldn't build these applications. Now it's becoming obvious how this space is going to evolve. Search and discovery is changing, because what if you built it and nobody can find it, nobody can use it? That's changing. And also the decentralized, public infrastructure network is also coming. So the DeepIn is also taking kind of a role within the Web3 space. We've seen some traction on that. So you'll see how everybody can connect to this AI, not necessarily just through centralized entities, but also through decentralized entities. And that's where the focus for Fetch.ai has been for the last 4 years. We started the journey early on because we felt that we could see this was going to be coming. Obviously, nobody can predict when it kind of reaches scale. So we're coming to a point where really what is happening is the components that you need for AI to actually take off are all here. Now the question is, can we bring usage to the mass market at this point? And that's the platform we're building, where people can connect and use it.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit. Fetch.ai is a blockchain platform that builds AI tools. Now you mentioned that it's working on these components. Can you explain exactly what those are?
Yeah. So Fetch AI's premise is based around agents, AI agents, and a multi-agent network. What that means is that you give everything, every person, every single application an agent. Which what that enables you to do is it enables you to actually easily integrate with all the AI, the technology that is coming out. It can use that technology to make decisions, interact with users, and the buildability of the whole stack becomes a lot easier. So if we look at, for example, how the past has been, we have been building monolithic systems in the centralized entities where aggregators would aggregate and they will build the database, they will build the machine learning models, they will build user interfaces. That will now open up. So that will completely become effectively decentralized, but also componentized. So what it means is it's going to become small components which are going to be built by many people, many developers, and will be used by many people. Now, to have a platform where you can actually find it, discover it, and connect with each other automatically is where the core of Fetch sits. So we are a platform where you can actually bring machine learning algorithms, you can bring LLMs, you can bring IoT devices, and you can actually assign them agents, and they can actually connect with each other. And they can connect with each other dynamically and intelligently. So you don't have to build software after software to connect these things. They automatically find each other and connect with each other. And the ultimate objective is to deliver you a service which is not in a centralized entity's control.
Okay, could you give me just some more examples of applications that have already been built, or of large language model applications or tools, just to contextualize it a little more?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start. If I start with just a very basic, simple model. So, for example, when you look today, and if you need to search for a service. So, for example, if you have a restaurant and you're looking for somebody to come and work in the restaurant, what you do today is you have to go to the website, to Google, to find a aggregator who can actually provide you. Then you log in, sign up, then you actually search for that person, or you actually go to your network of people and connect with them
Right.
and ask for somebody, and then you pick up the phone and you call that person and you say, okay, do you have time on this day, time on this day? So if you now convert that into this new AI system, and I'm just giving you a very basic example because I think it explains where the difference will be. So in this new AI example, I am a worker who is willing to work, and I have a calendar which is connected to my system. And if somebody comes along and wants to book a time with me, my agent can look at my calendar, automatically book it, and actually says, hey, here's your schedule. This is what it looks like. You're working here on this day from this time to this time. And on the other side, the business that is looking for it at the moment has to go through 3 or 4 different hoops. Would just be sending a message on a messaging system user interface and saying, I'm looking for this type of person. Can you suggest me 3 or 4 people? And your agent would recommend that. And this is happening without a centralized entity. This is on a very decentralized model. And that, I think, is what is needed really for Web3 space to bring all these use cases. Because the problem with Web3 at the moment is the fact is there's limited application.
Right. And limited user-friendly applications. So
Yeah.
let's get into the tie-in then between artificial intelligence and Web3 or crypto, and the relationship between the two industries.
Yeah, there are multiple layers. So Fetch has a network which is Cosmos based, but it's tuned for running multi-agent systems. Now, the when I say running, I mean I want to kind of decompress it all and say, okay,
Please.
let's simplify what it actually does. So let's say you have an agent, I have an agent, a million other people have agents, and they are collaborating with each other to do stuff. You need somewhere to put that record keeping. You need a record keeping, and if you put it in a centralized entity, that's fine. But we're working with the premise that decentralization is what's coming. So they need to put this record of transaction for audit purposes, for record keeping purposes. They have to keep that record somewhere. So the initial layer is this network where it's a ledger where the record keeping is done via the agents. Then you have to send you have to exchange economic value somehow. You say, I'm going to pay you, you're going to pay me $1. How are you going to do it? So that's where the crypto side comes in. So you have the ability to do that, and you can send me half a cent, which in banking terms would be quite difficult to do. So and these agents are working with AI, which I will just kind of talk about in a minute. But let's say the transactions are half a cent or even less than that. Then those transactions are also carried out on the ledger. So that's the network and the ledger. But then you kind of move a little bit on top of that, where you have people building machine learning models, and these machine learning models currently sit in one person's control or one entity's control. What if the data was decentralized and we all want to capitalize on it, and we are going to train these machine learning models? So who's keeping the record? Is it a centralized entity or is it the decentralized entity? So you have this blockchain combination with training machine learning algorithms, so that everybody knows how much data was put in by who, how much financial reward they should get, what economic value they should get, and also to acknowledge their participation in the whole system. That's very important. Copyright law. So you keep the record of exactly who trained the model, so you know what data came from where. And blockchain is really good for that, and it's decentralized, so it's open for audit, can be done, can't be changed. So that's another application of blockchain and machine learning and AI. And then on top of that, when you're running such a system where the communication is happening, where people are connecting with each other, and you want to do an audit on whatever the transactions were, whatever happened, you can go back to the blockchain to check it out. Now, I do understand that, of course, it's not as cheap, because it's a database which is very expensive. But then you have these zero knowledge proof kind of technologies which are coming, which can help you have a very good combination of true decentralization combined with some central elements, which kind of is what I would see as the next stage.
Okay, those are all good examples. I think another one that comes to mind now that you say all this is when it comes to content that is deep faked, right? So it's not real, and maybe blockchain can help us to trace the source and to really verify whether that content is real or not. I think that should be definitely explored a little more.
That's a very good example, and of course that you could build applications around that which will help. And you talked about the decentralized social media, decentralized work platforms. That's all happening. The issues we having is these aggregators in the middle. They provide a service right now, but it's not necessarily needed as we move along. And decentralization can actually really improve the economic distribution. I think that is being collected at the moment in perhaps the wrong way.
Okay, so what else might be blocking us? Like, what do we need to get to more harmony between blockchain tech and AI tools?
I think it's coming. It's just, and as we said, what we need to do as a Web3 environment community is to not just worry about it's a blockchain and not worry about it's crypto. It's what we need to really worry about is the application. So if the application is simple and easy, that's when we'll see the adoption. We're not going to see the adoption if I have to go to my wallet, I have to remember the key, and I have to go through this and I have to go through that. It's not going to get mass adoption. So mass adoption is, I don't care which chain I'm speaking to, the interoperability needs to exist. And again, I mean, our agents do exactly that, which is, you just speak to your agent. Agent deals with everything else. You don't need to really find ways to. I mean, you can send a message to your agent saying, "Hey, I want you to send money to this person or this wallet," You don't have to worry about, okay, am I putting the right wallet address in there? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? It makes it easier. So if we bring it back to the ease of use of Web 2.0, then I think we will see a lot of traction. And I think that's should be our focus as a community.
Okay. Well, I think it's also about developing a sense of trust in our agents, like you said. I don't know if that's going to be an easy task. Very recently, I interviewed a humanoid that was created by SingularityNet, which I know Fetch.ai has a partnership with, so you can get into that. But yeah, I basically interviewed a robot like as if it were a person, and I have to admit it was very creepy. I don't know if that'll ever feel normal.
Well, I mean, if you rewind, I mean, you know, maybe 10 years ago, online shopping was exactly the same. I mean, would I ever trust somebody? Would I trust somebody with my credit card? Would I put it on the web? And initial reactions of people were, no, absolutely not. But here we are. So I think if and this is quite interesting because what you are explaining is quite an extreme. So you're going to the robots. But what if there was a middle ground where you feel, because we feel comfortable with putting things on the web, right? So if you make a small step and say, hey, here's the web, but this is just an extension of the web, which is called a AI agent, right? So you don't have to speak to the AI agent in the first instance because that's what creeps people out. If you can do all those same things that you do on the web, but you do them in an automated fashion, and things just become easier where you don't have to spend hours searching for something, and you don't, and it just comes to you. You don't. We need to take small steps to get to the trust, and I think it's not going to be one day agents are just going to become, my only thing. It's going to be slowly blended into what we do, and suddenly people will start trusting. I mean, we do speak to bots now. I mean, most banking is done by bots, and yet we do speak to them, right? So it's going to be small steps towards this change, but I see that happening right now, and I have full confidence that over the next 2 to 5 years, probably half our communications are going to be with AI. And I don't see that much of a problem in achieving that because I feel technology is ready. When you speak to, I mean, people are starting to feel happy and annoyed speaking to ChatGPT. I mean, you could see people are starting to communicate, and once you get used to it, you wouldn't perhaps feel that awkward. The trick is, how do you make sure that you are speaking to an AI and not a human?
Right.
And
Well, that's where
how is
blockchain
it
comes
true?
in.
That's going to be, but if it's just doing a job for you, and if you can trust that it will deliver the task for you, then really it's not a complicated trust process, because you can say, okay, I look here and I'm getting this result, and I look here and I'm getting better results. Then you will slowly switch, and search and discovery will become your key interaction point.
Okay. Now, I do have to ask, why are you so passionate about artificial intelligence, Humayun?
Well, I mean, we're not just passionate today. I mean, I've been working. I was part of DeepMind. We were passionate 15 years ago. So we were passionate 20 years ago. But what is changing is the way we're going to interact with it. So I'm quite passionate about the fact that what this is opening up now. Um, there are still problems. So, for example, training of AI is a problem, because if
Right.
it's going to be a rich person's game, which is all these big corporations who are going to train it and own it, then we do have a problem. But on the other side, we're seeing a huge rise in open source models. We're seeing a huge training mechanism. And on the other side, we have this whole blockchain space coming along. So the tools are ready to not let that happen. And I think that's quite an exciting prospect, because what you're doing is you're saying, here's this powerful technology, which we know is powerful. I think we've all seen it and we know it's coming. You can't stop it because the genie's out of the box, right?
Yeah.
So But the interesting bit is that we'd love to see that kind of change humanity. I mean, research is going to change. I mean, if you've seen DeepMind's releases, your discovery process is changing. How you discover things, how you read things, how you actually invent things. I mean, the acceleration in that whole space is going to be phenomenal, and I think that is something to be excited about, right? But what is also quite exciting is that normal us, we will interact with it, and it will make our lives easier. That doesn't mean necessarily everybody will start losing jobs, but it does mean that you will have more time to do useful things,
Right.
perhaps not do the menial things that we do at the moment. Um, but what is also quite exciting is this decentralized space that is actually combining with AI. So rather than thinking of this whole one AI, which is big, which is what people are worried about, that one big being is going to become AI. My passion is perhaps more towards collective intelligence. So we're thinking about how we can take individuals, connect them to this network, this fabric, which is run on blockchain or whatever the technology is, right? But I think blockchain has the potential to do that.
Well, I guess only time will tell. We have to take it day by day, but definitely exciting times. Thank you so much for your time today, Humayun.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And
Really
we'll
enjoyed the
follow up.
conversation.
We'll follow up soon when there's more tech out, more stuff to talk about.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
I hope you liked my conversation with Humayun from Fetch.ai. Make sure to check out more information on Fetch.ai if you're interested, and please stay tuned for the upcoming Crypto Report.
Bitcoin is currently trading at $44,743. Ether's price is at $2,422 today. And Fetch.ai's token FET trading at 55 cents today, while Sol is up again with a price of $101.55.
Well, folks, that is all for today. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Crypto TV. Make sure to give this video a like if you liked it, and until next time, friends.